Good night. Good night. So we are in Shiva Miyadeh, going into the seventh day today. The seventh day is Hoshana Rabbah, and it is the Oושפיזין of David the Melech. David the Melech is about Malchus, building Malchus. Sikas David Hanafalas, picking up the sukkah again that fell down. What does that mean? And then we have David the Melech is Amuna. That's how it's brought down in the Svarim. The Melech is all about Amuna. So we have three levels. We have the first step is knowing. I know that something exists, something that I'm searching for, that I'm looking for. Then there is seeing. We can see the Oושפיזין, whoever it can see. The tzaddikim saw the Oושפיזין. And then there is the highest level, which is if we're really down all the way at the bottom, and we don't have the ability to see, there's a higher level than that. That is Amuna, that is believing. Believing that, having a yearning, having a ratzon, having the will, and as Ramachma says, the krecht of a person is higher than any tefillah. Any gives a krecht. So we have today, it's brought down also as Hoshana Rabbah, and Hoshana Rabbah is where Yitzchak was chofer be'eres. He was looking for water. What does it mean chofer be'eres? And we also have the koyach hamadama, which is the whole sukkah is working with the koyach hamadama, with the imaginary mind, and we understand that we are limited to what we can imagine based on what we know. We're limited to what we can imagine. So if we're limited to what we can imagine, then how do we get ahead of ourselves? If I can only imagine based on how much I know, how do I get above that? How do I get out of that? And that is the chofer be'eres, which is where the purpose of a person, the purpose and what needs to be accomplished, based on that is what drives one on his journey. Which means that means that nobody's looking for fall, nobody's pushed away. Everybody has his or its way to make it back to where it needs to go, to connect back to the pieces of the puzzle, to get to a place of knowing, seeing, and ultimately believing, which is going into the Chiddush B'Nefesh, going into the core of everything. One of the direct activation of Amuna is Netzach Hod, which is the two legs, which is the Hoshanas. Netzach Hod is, how do we get to Netzach Hod? It's the lowest level. There is no intellect in the legs. The legs don't know. They just walk. They follow orders. They do what they have to do, and they believe that whatever they're going is going to take them to the place. And even when they get to the place they need to get to, once again they're content that they are where they need to be. And this is how it's called going through the ultimate bittul. And this is how we're going in from the Hoshanas, which we are hitting the Hoshanas 5 times on the floor, which is mamtek the gevuras. The gevuras are separation, which is bina. Separation is where all the questions come into, and all the anxiety and all the squeeze and the twist is all happening from when we're going into the gevuras. We're going into separation. By bringing hamtaka into the separation, and we, after going through the process of El and Tishra and the whole process, we enter a space of Amuna, of just believing, and that is the core of B'nai Maminim. That's the core of every Yid, which is ingrained in us, in our DNA, from Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Avram went all the way down with Chesed, Yitzchak went all the way up with Gevurah, all the way into self with Gevurah, through massive Gevuras, that he was able to chofer and find the purpose, open up that kav to pave the way for us to enter the space of, no matter how foggy and no matter how confusing and lack of connect one is experiencing, we're tapping into, from that place we're tapping into Amuna, because ultimately how can one connect to something that we have no language with? As we get to a deeper level of it, we get to a place of Betachas Apshitas, where there is no where there's no expression other than just having Amuna and believing. So that is what is happening today, and the Hoshanas is the meaning Nevi'im. Nevi'im is Nevuah is that prophecy. Prophecy is the level of it comes from Amuna. That's the channel of prophecy, and this is what the meaning Nevi'im is with the Hoshanas, is that we're entering the space of Nevuah, which ultimately takes us to the highest place of Koyach Hamadama, of the imaginary mind, when one can connect to its core, to its essence. It's a storm. We're in the Makiv. The storm has, all types of stuff that happens around it. You have the wind, and then it rips out trees and whatever else it causes in its way of the Makiv, where once you get to the center, once you get past all the confusion and all the distortion, we get to the center of which we find the eye of the storm, which is Amuna. And the eye of the storm is where we meet ourselves once again, finally entering the space of Yechidush B'Nefesh of Amuna. That is also why Hoshana Rabbah night we go through Mishnah Torah, we go through the whole Sefer Devarim. Devarim is directly in the kavanah of that is to correct, to bring healing to Malchus. Malchus is the screen, the fabric of what reflects and mirrors back at us. So by correcting the screen, by bringing all these osius and all the letters, which is a chazar of the whole Torah, Mishnah Torah is a chazar of the whole Torah, by bringing all these osius, these new combinations and new possibilities, and from that place entering in the Nakuda of Amuna, going into the depth of the Be'eris, to the bottom of the struggle, entering in the place of Amuna, and from there we can actually prophesize and go back to what's the prophecy that which means that at the end of the day, everybody's going to speak the same language, which means that we're all the nations are going to have an understanding of what is going on and who are we serving and who is controlling and what the purpose of everything is. And with that, we are correcting the Chet Eitz Hadas, which is the beginning of everything. Is started with the Eitz Hadas, where from that place, once Adam Rishon Eitz from the Eitz Hadas, then all of a sudden there were two options. Before that, there was no options. There was only one option. He was in Atzilus, he was in oneness, he was in connection. But once we ate from the Eitz Hadas and the Gvurus activated and separation activated, so all of a sudden I have choice. I have two options, and when I have two options, that's where the doubt comes in. I'm not sure which way to go. Should I go right or should I go left? So Shana Rabbah is also Rosh Hashanah. In the Rosh Hashanah we have the first Chasima, the first seal. Yom Kippur is the second one, and the deepest seal, the highest seal, is happening on Hoshana Rabbah, which is where we have the aligning, creating a sculpture, and freezing it like that. Like you create a sculpture out of a sand or water, and then putting it in and then freezing it. So Hoshana Rabbah, when we are at the deepest place, when we're going into the highest level of self, to the depth, calling from the depth of the struggle and of the choshev. When we get the seal, when we have clarity at that place, from that space, and just one moment, and going in, the sculpture is being frozen at that snap. The picture is taken on that place. The picture, that's a better one. The picture is taken from that tzira, from that structure. That's how we want to enter in the year, because the koyach hamadama is going to be the way we show up from the depth of what needs to be accomplished, where we get to see the purpose. We get to experience the purpose. From that place, we enter into Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah, which is, once again, it's all the legs, where we're going into the Makifim, we circle in that kafas, we keep going around and around, which is makifim, which is we are going in. The only way I can go into my kifim that I can understand something that is above me, if I want to reach the highest level, something that I'm not learned and I don't know everything and I don't understand and I don't have the capacity to acquire kolated equivalent. But yet, if I go into the tzadik b'manasa yichya, we enter in the space of amuna, which is through the raglayim, which is that the raglayim are the kloyes. The kloyes are what gives us the eitzes. It gives us the eitzah, how to get around it. So that is what we are. That's the process of Hoshana Rabbah, and from there going into Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres is number 8, and from there is going into Simchas Torah, which is only a minig, which is higher than anything. That is, there's Nister, there's Torah's Nigla, and there's Torah's Mechsaf, there's Nigla, and then we have Torah's Nister, and then we have the Torah, the minig, which is the essence of everything. It's so high that it has no expression. It's not even. It's only a remes. It's only a remes in the Torah. It's something that we do by tapping into who we really are, which is Amuna and Kabbalah Soil, having the ability to surrender and to connect to Amuna. From that place, we're going into Shmini Atzeres, which is that we are benching Geshem. We're starting to say Mashu Ruch Murda Geshem, and that's where, from digging the wells and the Chofer Be'edes, we finally get to Mayim Tahirim. We get to the clean and pure waters, which is Chasadim, which is Chachma, which is being connected straight to the source without any distractions. So with that, So with that is, and also Amuna is bypassing. Amuna can bypass the all types of whatever seal there is, whatever we are, whatever maze we are stuck in, or was sealed, or whatever has been already sealed and carved out for each and every one, the path that they need to go. With Amuna, we get to the highest, we get to the Nakuda, and the Nakuda, it's like opening up a heat pack, or an ice pack, where you crush it and then it just spreads and the whole thing becomes warm and the whole thing becomes cold. The same idea is with Amuna. When you tap into Amuna, that saturates everything, it deletes everything, it washes everything down, and we enter in a space of a new possibility where the screen that we look at is not bound or has any sort of type of limitation of what was, and the ideas that we had were based on my belief or limitation that we had previously, rather that we're able to start fresh, start a new beginning. And we should all be zeichet to have a geula shalema. And if we have a geula shalema that the pratis personally, then it's called the herd immunization and herd immunity. So if you have enough people that are in the prat, that are connected to their inner peace and to their inner belief, and from that place we walk around, from that place we see others, then automatically that has an effect on others as well, and it becomes immunity to that. So we should all have a simple yamtiv, and simcha, we should dance with the Torah. We should dance with ourselves, and it should be only simcha. L'chaim and good yamtiv.